God, I feel short.
Size isn't everything.
You know what the worst part is? I think this might actually be like our real life height difference as well. Like, genuinely. You are maybe that
closer
much taller
to it
than
than normal.
Yeah. I did not grow tall enough. I need my own Sung Jin Woo height increase arc.
Pull a waiver. Go from like...
Yes! Pull a waiver. Pull a Sung Jin Woo. Go from being a little child to a tall person. So, hello. We are back with another Off the Shelf. If you're one of those people that watches YouTube videos and notices what the YouTubers are wearing and then associates certain videos with certain days, this is not the first video that we've
I don't know, half the videos
today.
we've recorded today, I've been off camera and you were not in what you're wearing.
That's entirely true, but I was wearing the same clothes in both of those, even though I changed before these two.
Yes.
So, you know. If you know, you know. So, we're back with another Off the Shelf, and today is Solo Leveling 4. We had to wait a while to do this after 3, because I was literally waiting for the physical book to come out. It was postponed by, like, 5 weeks.
And we'll have to wait a while for the next one, too, probably, because
Yeah.
we're right up at the release here.
Yeah, because 4 just came out, and like I said, when I was waiting for 4, it was like delivery in the beginning of April, and then it got pushed back to the middle of April, and then the end of April, and then the middle of May, and then the end of May, and then June. So, like, there is entirely a chance that the next volume, I think right now it's scheduled for a September release,
Look,
which means we're probably getting it in November.
I feel it. My Fate Grand Order book has been getting pushed back over and over again.
Yeah, at least you've already read it, right?
I have
Online?
not...
Oh.
Yeah, no.
That fucking sucks. I've already finished Solo Leveling.
I mean, I'm sure I could find a fan translation, but it's getting officially translated. Why would I?
Yeah, and I will say, if I was willing to have you read the web novel instead of the web comic, those are coming out quicker. Quite a bit faster. The web novel 5 will be out, like, in the next month or so.
The problem with novels is inevitably we have to move a little bit slower with them.
Why? The same length.
Yeah, but it's faster to read the comic, for me at least, than it is to read the novel.
I suppose that's fair. I think I spend longer on webcomics because I take the time to take in the artwork. I find...
when I'm reading manga or comics, I'm a very, like, I will read what they're saying, but what matters more to me is the moment-to-moment what's going on, like what the artwork is portraying, because that's where you're getting all the emotional depth.
Well, that's why it takes me a little longer on webcomics
details
than it does on web novels. Like, it doesn't take me nearly as long. But either way, so we're talking about Solo Leveling, Volume 4, which is...
You good?
Now, yes. Which is, contains one of my favorite arcs out of the entire series, and that is the Red Gate arc with the White Tiger Guild. Who you met the Guildmaster Beiko. We were talking about it earlier, and I was like, "You met Beiko," and he was like, "Who?" And I was like, "Not someone who was heavily featured."
Being fair though, that's kind of my reaction to most anime with big casts these days.
Yeah,
like all of my anime character namespace has been taken up by Fate.
Yeah, so Sung Jin Woo has finally plateaued in book 4. Like, he's not drastically physically changing anymore. He's settled into the appearance he's going to hold for the rest of the series, which I know you mentioned was a little bit of a bone of contention with the first 3 books, because he changes so drastically between the first 3 books each. Like, even looking at the cover images, it looks like 3 separate characters. And it's true, he does change, like, entirely between books 1 and 3. But by the time you hit book 3 to 4, he's settled into about the same appearance he'll maintain for the rest of the series. The only thing that will occasionally change are his clothes, and even then he stays in pretty similar outfits.
I think my problem, and not to reopen this one too much, my problem with the constant growth was that along with the character art style change, it also felt like the characterization changed really, like when the art
his
style
mental
changed,
mindset was
which
changing.
was a little bit more of a problem for me for the story than it was than anything. Because that's like a character jumps from one thing to another without much transition.
But that's settled between books 3 and 4 a lot.
Yeah, no, we haven't had that as much.
Yeah, so this book is the Red Gate arc. There's not really a whole lot else. It's Red Gate and getting reevaluated as an S rank, and then I think you start the Demon Dungeon, Demon's Castle Dungeon, which goes into the start of book 5. It does not finish at the end of book 4. But so at the Red Gate arc, he's asked by his sister's teacher, to take one of the younger hunters, who's also an E rank, and kind of give her a warning or show her what like working as an E rank hunter is going to be like, because he is one at the time. Was an E rank hunter making a
Instead
living.
of going into a dungeon that would be an E rank dungeon, he accidentally stumbled into a B rank dungeon.
Well, no, so he knew it was a B or C rank. He knew that. So the guy someone from the White Tiger Guild is trying to recruit him, right? And he says, like, do you have a dungeon I could join you on to, like, and he doesn't mean that he's actually going to join it, but it's more of a, let me try my skills out in a higher ranked dungeon, right? Mm-hmm. So he gets invited to join this, I think it's either a C or a B rank dungeon. I think it's a B rank dungeon with the White Tiger Guild. So he joins this group, and as soon as they enter it, the guild turns red. Now, red gates it basically means that you can't come back out until the boss is defeated. You're stuck in there, and the time differential's really fucking bad, right? So it can be months inside the gate.
It also can mean that the gate can be a lot harder than it originally appeared.
Yeah, it usually means a higher level gate, and sometimes you walk into a gate, and the gate could be, like, underwater or in the middle of, like, a lava volcano, and you just die.
Wasn't there a throwaway line that there was an island in Japan where a red gate opened and it just got completely overrun, they had to abandon it?
So, not in Japan. That's Jeju Island. It's in Korea,
okay.
And that is one of our major arcs coming up, is the Jeju Island raid. But yes, it is. A gate was opened, no one noticed it, and then the island was completely overrun by monsters.
This book kind of jumped around the world a bit, so it's...
It did. We talked about different areas, because we talked a little bit more about dungeons themselves and, like, famous dungeon.
Like, at one point we were in America.
Yeah, because America had a famous dungeon break, Kamish. Which was the Great Dragon Dungeon, where it broke open and almost destroyed the entirety of the United States because the dungeon break was so massive. But, so they go into this Red Guild, which is populated by ice bears and T.H.E, which are ice elves. And basically, the party splits off into two...
Because one dipshit was like, you guys are going to slow me down, go off, be safe. Then everyone in this party gets TPK'd.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, no one has died in the other party that he left because they would have slowed him down.
Yeah, literally nobody. So basically, Sung Jin-woo just, like, cooks bear meat and gives them furs and defeats all the bears.
Rather fight the bear than the elves.
Well, he actually has pretty good reasoning about territory and that kind of thing. So, I mean, basically what it comes down to is Sung Jin-woo chills with his group for a while until the T.H.E approach him. He also, the leader guy from the other group who left them, comes back and accuses them of deliberately sabotaging the party, and he ends up accidentally killing him. Like, he didn't actually mean to kill him, he just hit him on accident too hard and he was already weakened, and he creates his first human shadow. So, like, he turns a living human who had free will into a shadow that does not. And he names him Iron.
There's also some interesting stuff here with that seemed like between this and another event that I'm sure we'll talk about in a second. Mm-hmm. It seems like there's some implication here that Sung Jin-woo, is that our main character's name?
Yeah.
Did I get that finally?
Yes, Sung Jin-woo.
It seems like he's not human. He's actually probably a monster at this point because the other monsters seem to have the same system notifications going.
Well, no, so they don't have the system notifications, but he speaks their language.
Well, he speaks their language, and then they say there's also like, yes, why
there's a voice in their head. So what they're talking about is, so I see what you mean by same system, but he's seeing like a game style system notification. They just have a voice in the back of their head going, kill.
But it's implied, at least it seems in the story, and this might not be the case later on, that it's a similar sort of like, because he has the system telling him to do stuff too. That it's at least similar in nature.
Yeah, I think it is somewhat similar. Yeah, in the end, but it's hinted at, and then he speaks the monster language, which is another big no-no. Humans don't speak monster, like point blank, period. And
then, of course, there's that cutaway in America where they find, was it his father?
What they think is his father, come out of an S-rank dungeon.
And they think he's a monster because
he speaks monster, and as far as they're aware, the last living record of this human was them disappearing inside of a gate that closed 10 years ago.
So they accuse him of being a monster. They attack him, and then he kicks their ass in.
Well, it's understandable that they would accuse him of being a monster, though, because the way he comes out looking and the fact that he's been theoretically inside of a gate for 10 years and survived this whole time. Like, that's never happened before. Like, this has literally never happened before.
Well, we're beginning to get hints that something is going on here.
Yeah, so also the murderous dude's big brother comes back to try to confront him for killing his brother. Although that doesn't really lead anywhere.
Then he got turned at the gate and told basically to his face, "Go away, Karen."
Yeah, Woo Jin Chul was like, fuck off, and so was Baek Yoon Ho. So they do get out of the gate. He brings out the ones that were with him. They survived, and he's got iron now. And then he goes to get reevaluated, doesn't he?
Then he breaks their machine.
Yeah, so it's not really broken, but the Korean Hunter Association has this way of like trying to like poach hunters first when they're strong. So if you register as an S class, the machine tells you error and you have to come retest 3 days later, and that gives them 3 days to like contact the hunter and try to like headhunt them before the other guilds get a hold of them.
Of course.
Which is not the worst idea.
I don't remember if he actually followed through with it. I'm pretty sure he's turning it down because he has his own plans.
Yeah, he has his own plans, yeah. And so during that 3-day interval, I think between getting or right after getting reevaluated, he has this key to the demon dungeon, right? Like the 99 levels of hell. And we start on that arc where he's trying to find things in the...
I assume that's something he's going to do in between his... Or is it something he's going to do all at once, or is it something he's doing in between?
He does it in 2 chunks. I think he gets up to floor like 70 or so in the first chunk, and then he'll take a break and go back to it to finish it, I believe. A little bit after that, because something happens at floor 70, and then we'll move on from there. But, so how do you feel about solo leveling now that we're at the end of book 4?
This was definitely my favorite book so far. I'll give it that. Like, the entire confrontation with the elves felt a little bit more active, I'd say, than previous chapters, where it felt like he just kind of was there. Oh yeah, because
he could have died to the T.H.E.
Yeah,
without the active help of Iron and Igris, he would not have won.
Yeah, the T.H.E. were a lot more of a present threat this time, and beyond just that, it felt like a little bit more there's a little bit more twisting going on here than just the straightforward power trip we've sort of had in previous arcs.
Yeah, because if you come down to it, and these monsters are being told to kill humans to the point of insanity, isn't he kind of slaughtering innocent victims?
Yeah.
Of something else?
Yeah.
Something greater?
Yep. And it feels like we're getting also a lot more world building at this point, which is a lot better for me, I think.
Yeah.
Because I've said from the beginning, the world is the most interesting aspect of the series for me so far.
Yes, and we're certainly getting more of that. I really like that they start showing us... starting here, we're actually going to get to meet some hunters from around the world, and we're going to get to hear a little bit more about events from around the world that have happened and things that are currently happening around the world. And I like that because up till now, it's kind of been a very centric on Sung Jin Woo and where he lives and what he's doing, and at this point we've gotten basically an implicit confirmation that this is greater than Sung Jin Woo just reawakening with a really cool power. Something is happening.
There's some grand
here.
plan by something going on here.
Yeah, and even Sung Jin Woo is not fully in on it, and also what's happening is definitely stronger than Sung Jin Woo, and without his shadow soldiers, he might not, he would not have won against the
T.H.E.
the head T.H.E. I forget his name. He has an actual name, and they give it to you, but he would not have won against the T.H.E. leader without Igris and Iron.
I like that after the T.H.E. were dealt with, he was like, all right, let's just go kill the boss, and they just kill it off screen.
Yeah, because presumably the boss is one of the ice bears, I think. Or something like that.
And it kicked the ass of the other party.
Yeah.
But then he's like...
And he gets Tank! So he gets this giant ice bear summon that he names Tank. And I fucking love it. Also, interestingly enough, at least you've, in various videos on the channel where we've been on camera, you've probably seen it in the background, and it's certainly on most of my accounts, but I do actually use a chibi-fied image of Iron on most of my accounts as my avatar, and it is my wallpaper on my computers is Sung Jin Woo and his shadow soldiers, and I really like Iron because he's just big dumb barbar, which is just all of my D&D characters ever. It's just big dumb barbar. I'm not wrong. He's thinking in his head about my Fate character, who is a mage but has become big, dumb, barbar.
I'm also thinking about all the times, I'm thinking about those barbarian stereotypes that just turned out to be real.
I mean, okay, you can have smart barbarians. You can have barbarians who work with magic.
Yes, you can have barbarians that are a little deeper than the other barbarians, but at the end of the day, the strategy here is still rage!
I mean, you know what the worst part is? My character in the Fate D&D game doesn't even have a rage bonus.
Yeah, because you're not actually a barbarian.
I'm just a squishy that was like, armor! Physical weapon! Poke! Poke! At the servants. That's the equivalent of what I'm doing. I'm poking. Fucking.
Being fair, though, she's probably the player that's come the closest to death because she's being dumb about it.
To be fair, I have come far too close to death far too many times. Gotta live on the edge. It's the thrill.
She's almost died to Gilgamesh twice because she thought it'd be a good idea to go poke him.
I think technically it's 3 times now.
Has it been 3 times?
I think it's 3 times total.
I only remember 2 times off the top of my head, but I'll take your word for it.
Because when we first met Gilgamesh in the first chapter, Vorn did not make friends with him, and I had to smooth it over because he wanted to smite all of us. So technically it's been 3 times. But with that being said, I'm really glad that you're enjoying solo leveling a little bit more now. The story really picks up from here on out, so I'm excited for book 5, but it is going to be a while. Like, it is going to be at least 3 or 4 months before we get to the next book. So you guys are not going to see us solo leveling on the channel for quite a while, possibly almost till Christmas. So we'll fill in with other stuff. We'll be doing another El Malloy soon, and we've got a lot of one-off books. And if you want to suggest something for me or Knick Knack to read, put it in the comments. I read things really, really fast. So if it's on my to-read list, I will get through it, unlike my anime to-watch list, which I am really not making any significant inroads in because I keep adding stuff to it.
Well, she's been 9 episodes into Babylonia for the last 2 years.
It might be 3 years at this point. It was 2019, I'm pretty sure.
Probably.
It was a long time, and I've just been stuck at like 9 episodes in.
Not because she doesn't like the series.
I love the series. I just don't have time. But at the same time, I did also read like 12 novels last week. So I read real fast, and I'm always looking for new manga and new webcomics. Especially the ones that are available on like sites where I can actually support the authors, like Webtoon, Pocket Comics, Manta, Tappy Toon, all those. Because you can read solo leveling on, I believe, either Manta, Tappy Toon, or Webtoon supporting the author. It's also available, the web novel's available on the web novel app supporting the author. And then it's carried at Barnes & Nobles and Amazon. So you can support the author. There's English translations officially available, with a lot of things that I've been reading these days. So like, comment, subscribe, let us know if you have something you think we'd enjoy, and we'll see you in the next video.